3, 2, 1. Welcome to That's okay. Welcome to Donna the Show, hosted by a boy Danakista. Good morning, good day, good evening, and good night. If you just want to hear my voice before you sleep, today's guest is the Nothemba. Straight out of PTA, well, // Come on, Cocas. Don't let her act like she's the shit.
Oh, wow.
She's from the hood, like me. She's from the hood. What are you studying? But she's studying something in PTA. Studying something. And she's got a degree in production, right?
Yeah.
After. But she doesn't like it. I don't know why. She could be making money for us. But she was like, no. Okay. But yeah, today's topic is all things, well, not all, but most things queer. Just in honor of Pride Month. Happy Pride Month to my alphabet gang.
I told him that, by the way.
LGBTQ plus. Well, I actually learned the rest of the plus from LGBTQ is LGBTQIP2SAA, which is shit long, right? Like, so that's lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, questioning, intersex, pansexual, two-spirit, androgynous, and asexual. That's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not finished. So I learned today that you identify as genderqueer and queer.
Well, queer is an umbrella term that most people belonging to the alphabet gang use just like as an umbrella term, but is also like a shortened word of the word genderqueer. It's like a cut off of that. So yeah.
So just to remix our convo, let me start with this then. The increase in queer visibility, as you noted for me, do you feel like it was a trend, like of people just all of a sudden identifying as gay and bisexual, or do you feel like it was just the liberation of where we are with time now, like people feel like
definitely the second, definitely the latter. I think it's more of a matter of because of things we have access to with internet and everything now, like people, and with the way we're structuring our media, so how we're structuring TV shows, how we're structuring like the media that people consume, allows people to like introspect and like realize that, oh, actually this person is just like me, this nigga just like me, you know. Mm-hmm. Like I've felt like this, I've resonated with this, and I think it's more to do with there's more exposure, not necessarily more people taking it on as a trend necessarily. I think there's a very like there are people who do that, who like, which is wrong, like who pretend to identify with certain things and end up like hurting people that are genuinely in that community, etc., and so on and so forth. But I don't think it's like a trend purposes. That's their own reasonings. But I don't think people being queer has ever been a trend, in my personal opinion.
It's never been a trend.
I don't think it's ever been a trend, because that's like that's an integral part of who you are, and I don't think anyone would want to do that just to know that it's something that's passing, because a trend essentially means that it's something that's passing, that's going to happen, and it's going to go out of fashion. Who you are isn't going to go out of fashion, you know.
That's true.
So I think it's never been a trend. I think it's just someone has seen someone else live their truth and like identify as a certain thing, and they're like, oh, okay, they can do it, so can I. Because there's always been gay people. It's just they've been closed off, shut off, like shut away by like society, laws, etc., etc. And now we're all like, mostly in some countries that is still the truth to this day, but a lot of countries are a lot more open about it and a lot more, you know, open to it, so people feel a sense of like comfort of being able to like come out and speak out and be like more comfortable with themselves. So yeah.
That's fair. That's a fair answer, yeah. Damn. No, I like how you wrapped it up.
Yeah.
Okay, but what I really want to have a deep dive into religion and the alphabet gang. Do you think religion can coexist with... Let me not say religion. Let me rather ask, do you think the major religions can coexist with other sexualities besides heterosexuality?
Definitely. Like, I do not think your faith or like your religious standing should have anything really to do with the person that you choose to build a life with or choose to be with, essentially. Like, I feel like people don't realize that they can be, is it mutually exclusive? I think that's the word. They can exist outside of each other. I think there's been like things that have been made like a norm and been made like, you know, that whole, this is how things are and this is the status quo and whatever. But I personally, I don't think that who you are has necessarily anything to do with what you believe in, essentially.
Because that's also a major part of who you are.
That is true. I think by that I mean like most religions, if not all, have this universal thing of like essentially, well, this is more to do with like with Christianity in particular, like this specific term where it's like come as you are. So like whatever sort of standing or like race or background or whatever you come from, you should be able to be allowed into a space where you are with a higher being, be that be God, be that be whatever it is that you believe in, and you should be able to come to that person or like I don't know, what can you call it, that higher power essentially, and you should be able to still feel the same thing that, I don't know, let's say a heterosexual person would feel like going to church. Like essentially what these religions teach is that you should come as you are, and who you're with or who you're attracted to or whatever shouldn't matter. That's what's been taught, and I feel like that is the core thing of all religion, is like it's just to teach love and faith and respect, but has then been interpreted by people
a different way.
A completely different way. I think the core concept of religion and whatever is essentially there's this higher power and it's teaching us this, that, and that, which is mainly like stuff to do with loving each other, loving the planet, loving this, and then people have then made it into a, but if you don't do this, you're going to do this, and this one says this, and this verse says this, and this part of this book says this, and yeah, so...
I agree with you, but like, how do you think one feels if their own interpreter of religious texts affirms that belief of fear and that you have no place in God's garden or like heaven, when Christian preachers be on some, it's a sin, it's wrong, it's this, it's that?
I think that's more like, my problem with that is like, it's this whole spokesperson thing. Like, how are you that higher power spokesperson? Like, I'm not trying to say that, because essentially preachers have been blessed with a gift of sorts to be able to relay, well, they claim to relay a message that comes from like a higher power or whatever, which is, no, that is essentially what it is. But I don't think any one person has the power to then tell another person where they are and are not welcome in a place, especially when the place that comes with the whole principle of everyone is welcome in this house.
Yeah.
So I think with that as well, that's just been made the norm. Like, that's just been made the everyday thing. Like, this sort of thing is accepted. This is the stereotype. This is how things are supposed to be. And it's like, who made that up, sort of thing? Like, who decided that, and why is that the one thing that's not changing in a world that changes literally every second, sort of thing, you know?
I have a feeling you did not interpret it like this at first.
Who? Me?
Yeah.
Like religion?
Yeah. Did you always feel like this? Like, did you always be like, no, like, no, like, it has to be another way? Or did you first feel
the thing is with
resentment?
With me personally, with religion, I've never felt like, I don't know if it's because of the sort of churches I went to or whatever, or like maybe I was too young to hear that that's the sort of message they were spreading. You need to be like, I can't really remember that, like, things I was like 8 and listening to what they said in church about. But with me, like, I've never like, my problem is with the whole identity thing. Like, I'd like to use myself as an example. I don't know, like, for as long as I can remember, I'd like to think that I've never seen someone outside of when I thought like I was like straight, and seeing a gay person and being like, oh my god, they're gay. Yeah. Oh my gosh, what's God gonna say about that? Like, I think that's got a lot to do with how I've been brought up as well. Like, I've never really seen a problem with it, and I've never really thought of it as like this completely foreign concept that's like, gay people exist. Oh my gosh, that is crazy. Like, for as long as I can remember, I don't know. But, like, I've never been one to think of it as something strange, which is what made me start questioning myself as well. I'm like, cool with it, and that's fine. I think I'd be, like, a pretty cool ally, and I'm like, maybe I'm more than just an ally sort of thing. So that's, like, using myself as an example, that's the thing. I think it comes down to, like, the sort of things you've been exposed to and the sort of way you've been brought up, and just the way that you and within yourself like think about it, because a lot of like queer people do go through the whole phase of like internalized homophobia where they feel they're not deserving. So there's those whole tropes of like usually someone that is homophobic turns to be, you know, like that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Which it does happen, but doesn't like excuse like homophobia at all, and is not like true for everybody. Not everybody that goes through internalized homophobia takes it out on other people. It can be small things, like you can feel wrong or whatever because of how society has made you think about it. But like, basically, to answer your question, using myself as an example, I don't think like, I don't know, I think how I grew up did change how I look at it, and I think I'd like to think I've always had the same sort of set of beliefs, like from jam. I don't know though, because obviously you do grow and change as a person, and when you are young, you're exposed to certain things. But I don't think like, you said like you don't think like it's always been the same. I think it has.
Really?
I think it has.
That's so cool.
I don't know. I've just never thought of, I don't remember ever seeing like a gay person and being freaked out, or like, you know, just seeing it as weird, or like seeing everybody wear makeup or everybody wear skirts regardless of how they present or whatever. And I don't think I've ever seen it as an issue, I'd like to think. I hope.
Do you think it's okay to have homophobia to an extent?
No, hating on someone else is
not
never
hating.
Okay. That is what homophobia is.
Okay, not that, but like having like a sort of like
there's no right way to explain that. You are struggling. There's no way you can please explain
like,
and
like that. Like I know,
it.
but like I know people, right, that really don't like gay people.
Mm-hmm.
Like obviously this is male people, because I don't know what it is, but male like as guys. Okay, most guys. I speak for myself. I really like lesbian girls. Like that thing of you being into another girl, and that turns me on.
That is so wrong.
Wait.
It's a fetish.
It's a fetish. I know, but like.
And it's wrong.
Not lesbian girls, but like bisexual girls.
Yeah.
But something about a gay dude being too close to a straight dude. Like, for some people, it irks them. Like, I know, I'll say my cousin because I won't disclose him because but one of my cousins, like, he's actually no more than one. Actually, they just not with that. They just like, dog, don't. Why are you so close to me, dog? Like, it's that type of phobia. Do you think that is hate or just a preference?
I think that's just a product of really toxic masculinity, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
I don't think it's justified in any way because there's this like preconceived notion that like
because I'm gay, I'm gonna hit on you.
I'm gonna hit on you, and it's like as much as straight people have types, gay people have types too.
Yeah.
And there's this preconceived notion as well of like gay people being like hypersexualized human beings, which is very wrong. Like they just go on and latch onto everybody, regardless of who they like, regardless of what the person says they identify as. And I think that is a product of like homophobia, and I think it's very wrong.
Toxic.
And it's very toxic. And it shows that you guys, people that do think like that, have a very fragile relationship with masculinity, and they think that another person being close to them, like, it rubs off, and it's like that doesn't contagious. Make any sense. Like, it's contagious. Like, I'll pray the gay away or whatever. And it's like, no,
Dog,
like,
that's so crazy. There's actually a movie about that. Like, a movie where they take kids to like
conversion
school.
therapy.
Like, to a school.
It's a thing like that. Imagine. And it's like crazy, and I can't. I saw a tweet that was like, consider yourself hot when people of the same gender find you attractive. That's how I think about it. If a girl were to think I'm hot, it's like, oh, wow, that means I'm a fine.
I haven't said this. I remember, like, on my story, I was like, dog, if a gay dude,
it's
as
like,
a guy,
fine.
If a gay dude hits on you, that means
fine,
you're
fine.
hit.
That's what I'm thinking. So for them to like,
no, but I want a lesbian too.
No,
because like she's into girls, and so if a
that's the whole point, though. That's the whole point. Is that they don't find men attractive. No, that's like, the whole point.
If I'm able to make a lesbian,
that's conversing. That's wrong.
That'd be nice. I remember when Brentford almost got heat for that. Like, she was like, if she says she's lesbian, you're just not hitting it right.
No, she's lesbian because she is lesbian.
Yeah,
that has nothing to do with... Men have this thing of thinking everything is about them. It's not all about you. Sorry.
What if it is?
No, it's not.
Like, what if it...
Why is it so foreign or such a wild concept to you that people just might not find you attractive? The very same way you can look at someone and just be like, I don't find them attractive. Like, I don't understand why people think it's such a foreign concept that people may just be attracted to girls only, and there happen to be a girl / feminine presenting like themselves. Like, us using girl and guy is very binary. Like,
girls are nice.
Using that term is very binary.
No, girls are beautiful.
But
like, I understand.
In this context, we're speaking about girls and guys, but I believe that's a social construct.
My explanation for it the other day, like when I was talking to one of my cousins, I think I was like, the same way the same way as a guy you can find yourself attractive. Like, you can be like, oh, I'm a hit.
I look good too.
That's the same way gay dudes will see you if they do find you attractive. Like, hence, you like, because he was on some, I don't understand how a guy can be gay. Like, dog, have you seen girls? I'm like, dog, girls. But nah, dog, think about it. Like, the same way we see a girl.
Exactly.
And be like,
exactly.
She's like, nice. That's the same way a gay dude will be like.
To a guy, the same.
He's actually attractive.
Yeah.
Like, and that's why I'll never feel down from a girl just like saying I'm ugly or something. Because gay dudes have been like gay dudes. Like, I remember being hit on by a gay dude. I was like,
Why are you like that?
No, I realized after that's the thing that he operated, dog, because he even got my number.
Oh, okay,
I operated. Because I'm walking, he's like, hey, I like your bag, where did you get it? I'm like, because I don't even catch.
Yeah.
I'm like, nah, Starbucks, I was there for birthday in, we talked. We walk. He tells me about his master's, because like this is in Cape Town. He tells me about his master's degree, that he didn't go on stage to get his degree. He was like, I want the master's like when it's just a few people. I'm like, yo, okay, that's dramatic. And I'm like, okay, cool. He's like, cool, can I get your number? We'll chat, we'll link. I'm like, okay, cool. I realized, I'm like, Random was operating. But yeah, so, but yeah, the point is, what was the point? It's normal, basically.
Yeah, literally. Literally.
That's what it was.
People like what they like, essentially.
Question. Should every type of sexuality be taught on our screens, at school, and generally? And why? Because
we have heard multiple stories of people that were like only doing like transitions now talk about not feeling represented when they were kids. Like they've had this feeling, like a lot of stories that luckily not everybody has the same story, but a lot of like the more transphobic stories are like, when I was small, I never really saw this. I was taught that this is for girls, this is for boys, and that's it. Or like, you're a girl, that's all you should be Barbies, pink, whatever.
Oh, yeah.
And like the lack of representation is like, there's more out there than just what you think. Like, it's not just Mickey Mouse and Minnie Mouse. There's Minnie Mouse and Minnie Mouse. Like there's
I like this other one. He was like, parenting later on will be so difficult. It won't just be birds and the bees. It's going to be birds and birds, bees and bees, bees that turn into birds.
I that's the whole essence of the human experience. Like, why would you just want to know that there's only one type of way to do things if we're so many different people in general? Like,
I feel like life would be boring without so many others.
It's like, why would you want to be stuck onto one sort of way of thinking? So like, I think it's very important to like show, like, it's not indoctrinating kids. I don't think there's anything wrong with telling your kids that there's things where it happens where you don't necessarily fit into the body that you were born with, and that's fine. Or you don't necessarily find attraction to people that are opposite of you, and that's fine. Any whatsoever, actually.
Yeah, dude, I wish I could be like that sometimes.
So I think it's very important because it saves like so much, like
time and energy,
and it's like a form of like, I remember like a lot of like a pride slogan that comes up is like, acceptance is suicide prevention, like, you know, that sort of thing as well.
Damn,
like, it's very important to show that like, you aren't alone and there isn't anything wrong, and you know, like,
acceptance of suicide.
Essentially, that's like that type of stuff comes up. Like, yeah, that really does. That like, really just accepting someone for who they are, and just letting them know that it's okay to be like that, and just growing up in an environment where you've been shown that. Because that's why a lot of people, like with our previous conversation, find it so weird. Because they've only grown up with one certain way of thinking. It's like, a man and a woman get married. A man and a woman have kids. A man and a woman do this. A man and a woman do that. And it's like,
boys like girls.
Yeah, he's mean to you because he likes you. Like,
that's
stupid shit like that.
Yeah.
Stupid shit like that. So it's like, nah, like, that isn't the only thing that exists. And I don't think it's more work. Like, people seem to think, now it's going to be this, now we need to show this, and now we need to show that. It's not that difficult to show representation.
Same way you showed boys and girls.
Exactly. Like, there's thousands of cartoons that come on all the time. Like, it's not that difficult to, like, show that, this also is a thing.
One storyline.
By the way, you know? So, and they've already started doing that, and, like, it has been met with, like, backlash and whatever. But, like, I think that is so good for like kids to just grow up with that, because like the world is becoming more exposed to that. Like we said before in the beginning, that they've always existed. It's just something that has been more exposed now. So this whole notion of like they're just coming out of nowhere and they're just wanting to change our kids' thinking, and they just want to take over the world or whatever. It's like, no, we've always been there. It's just you've just chosen to ignore them, or us rather. Like you've just chosen and you've made it a point to not include us in media and to silence us and to keep us like hidden as if it's a bad thing or it's a secret or it's something like not normal. And it's like, no, just because a certain way has been like the way things have been for a while doesn't mean that that's the only way that things can be, essentially.
That's so true. Guys, I'll be quiet for a long time because this girl is very smart, man. So please don't be surprised.
But like our host has also like made it a thing, like in inviting me with this podcast as well, has prefaced that he has done a lot of research and education, and I really encourage people to do that. Gay people aren't around here to teach you the way to do things. We're not here to answer your questions and spoon feed you. You have a supercomputer on your phone,
in your pockets.
So like,
please use it.
There are so many good creators that take their time to make research papers, watch video essays, listen to podcasts, do your own things. I think just having a real life experience is like what he wanted for today, and talking
really,
to like a queer person and talking with them and whatever. But that doesn't negate from the thing, like, we're not here to teach you. That is your job, and it is your responsibility to learn about that sort of stuff. So just side note.
So what we had spoken about before, but like, I don't think we expanded enough in a way. So, Oaks, there's sex, there's gender, there's sexuality. Okay, if I remember this properly, right? Sex, male, female, biological sex, right? And then gender is what you have a preference for, like it's what you choose. Like it can be a male-bodied female, right? It can be, like transgender and all those. And then
it refers more to like the characteristics of men and women that are socially constructed. Like it's to like, okay, if we Google it, it's like, this term is also used more broadly to denote a range of identities that do not correspond to established ideas of male and female. So gender is more like what you identify as. It's a personal thing.
Between which options?
That's the thing. Like, there isn't, like how we said, there's people that are non-binary. There's people that are not necessarily cisgendered female or cisgendered male. It's more like outside of that. So people that are like, that don't necessarily identify in like being male or female. Sometimes it's like neither sort of thing. So I think that's the best way to describe it. It's a little iffy.
You think it can be summarized like how sexuality can be? Because like in gender, there's the cis, there's non-binary, there's trans, there's none at all. Yeah,
I think gender is more associated with the characteristics that said male and female can come with. Like, being male means that you're more masculine, being female means you're more feminine. And those things that I think it's just, they're constructed like, it's a social construct, man. I don't know how to describe it. It's a very complex concept, but like essentially it's more to do with like how a person, and how they choose to self-identify.
Because there's very feminine men.
And they are cisgendered men. It's
like cisgendered male.
Yeah. And
you can be... you can actually be like a different sexuality, but...
Not sexuality.
Cisgendered. Like, be like gay, cisgendered, and...
Yeah.
Being
gay doesn't necessarily make you like a gay man. Doesn't make you a woman. There are gay men, gay cisgendered men. It just
But oh yeah, okay. This one blew my mind. Man. I just want. I'm so sorry, but like I was almost flabbergasted that day. I was like, okay, so there are people, right, that are gay, transgender, and male. Well, biological sex would be male. Well, no, biological sex would maybe be, how do I put it? Yeah, biological sex, say it's male, right? Born a boy. And then you convert into a girl, right? That's transgender. But you're lesbian, so you're into other girls. Does that...
You can be a transgender female, like transgender male.
Transgender, born a girl, born a boy, turn into a girl,
and be lesbian.
Really?
Gender and sexuality are not the same thing.
I know, but like it just
that is not the same thing.
Like confused me. I was like, how must either way?
No,
even if you stayed on the other team,
no, because that's more a you thing. That's why I'm saying gender is more to do with you and how
sexuality
you self-identify.
is attraction.
Sexuality is attraction, and biological sex is more to do with what you were assigned to at birth. So yes, there are transgender gay people like that, like men, transgender men that love men, and they're gay, and they can be transgender women that are lesbian, because they're not the same thing. Just because they are part of the same community, like they're in the alphabet gang, doesn't mean.
Yeah, I think I finally got my answer to that.
Yeah,
that's where that actually makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
So gender, internal. More than anything.
More than anything. It's like,
sexuality.
And it's more to do with characteristics.
Attraction.
Yeah. And biological sex is more male and female. Okay. We're not experts on this. Okay. We're also learning.
Yeah.
Don't quote us.
No, but you can quote her. There's some.
No, you cannot. I've been researching, and that changes all the time.
Okay.
Which is why I encourage it. Even us as queer people don't have all the answers. So we're constantly learning to figure out all of those things too.
Do you think there's internal hatred amongst the alphabet gang sometimes, like the same way boys can hate each other sometimes, or like...
I think that's with every community though.
Yeah.
The same way with like racism as well.
That's just messed up.
That I feel like there's like with racism, like with us, we have like xenophobia and all of that stuff as well. Like we're hating people that are like gang.
Yeah. like squad.
Essentially, exactly. Yeah. I don't know. I've heard of discourse about this. I can't really say much to comment on it. I want to comment on something that I've never been exposed to or like really looked into. But we do know that there are people in certain identities that do like struggle with, for example, accepting trans people, and they also happen to be in the LGBT community. That is one of like identities that a lot of people just in general struggle with accepting.
Really?
Like even just not in the community. I just mean in general, like
transgender should be considered a sexuality or just just a gender by itself?
Even with that, I don't know. I can't answer that question.
It's risky.
I'm not gonna lie. Not even that, because I can't speak on it. Like I'm not sure. I don't believe in like speaking on things that I know very little about. So
I'm just I understand what you're saying. But I'm saying like based off what we just established, or okay, let's give this context before they just take a piece. The context of this is we are rather assuming right now is that gender is about internal factors more than anything, just like about you, right? Sexuality is about what you find.
Load shedding.
Okay, so sexuality is about what you find attractive, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if transgender is more about the conversion from one gender to the next, should it not be part of gender? Go. Yes. So should it not just be about that? Like, should transgender not be a gender, one of the genders, and not
necessarily an
part of
alphabet
the
gang,
alphabet gang?
because that talks towards I don't
Yeah.
think so. I think there's a reason that it is there, because you need to remember that Pride just being a thing started off as a riot founded by like a transgender woman, like by transgender women in general. Like Pride used to be a riot. So excluding trans people out of the community is doing a huge disservice on like its founders and everything. Like they started the movement, they started Pride, and excluding them is just adding to that whole sea of like transphobia and all of that. I don't think so. Like I think they do belong in the community. I can't really like go into all of that because I don't have all the answers. But what I do know from things that I have watched and all the research that I have done is that they form an integral part of the community, not only just because like the founding women behind it were transgender women, but like they are a very important part of the community. So I do not see a reason as to why they should be like removed whatsoever.
Okay, that's fair.
Not at all.
No, I wanted to say, I just realized why transgendered people should be part of the Pride community. I think Pride is not just about gender, nor is it just about sexuality. Like, it's about the umbrella, like about everybody that was normally excluded, having somewhere like a community that they can call a home or like be a part of, because you don't fall under what's normal. Like,
not necessarily, because if I could bring it back to like this, there was this whole thing on Twitter where people wanted to identify as like super straight, like, and they wanted it to be an identity. Like it was a whole
super straight.
I think people are just having an identity crisis. It's not a thing.
I feel like that's just
like
really not sure. Like,
that
really,
was
really
like really weird.
Not secure.
And like the whole thing about people wanting to identify as something else when they were like attracted to kids, like little kids, like pedophilia type vibe. Like there was a thing at some stage where they were like, we should be part of the community. And no, that is illegal. That's not what it is. I think more than anything, I think they belong there because they are Pride, essentially. Not even just that whole thing of, oh no, it's just not normal, like people that are like not necessarily embraced into society or what. No, like there's nothing that's abnormal about trans people. Like that, even that whole statement is problematic. Like things that aren't normal. That's the problem, is that we've been conditioned to think that that's not normal or that's not this. And it's like, no, that's part of the human experience. And like, you're allowed to realize that and not necessarily agree with whatever it is that you've been assigned to at birth type of thing. And you're like, I don't think that I'm the right gender per se, and that's perfectly fine, and that should be something that's seen as perfectly fine, because I'm not harming anyone and I'm not doing any harm to anyone or anything wrong, or you know,
and it's my business,
exactly. Like why does it have any, why do I even have to explain that? Let's start there, you know. So I think more than anything it's because trans people started Pride, and that's on that period. Like there is no Pride without trans people, and they should never in any way feel excluded whatsoever.
ESCOM did its thing, but anyway, to close, what I learned from this is that there's a lot to learn. Yes. There's still a lot to learn.
Of nuance.
There's a long way to go still, and I think you're right. It should be taught from an early age, because people really like to quote you, like this is a proper code. Acceptance is suicide prevention, right? Like that's one of the most beautiful things, and that applies to everything in life. So to close, thank you guys for listening so far. If you get this far, it's been your boy Donna Kista, and the Nothemba.
Educate yourselves, y'all.
Thank you so much.
And yeah, thank you for having me. Bye.
I